Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another video on the Social Studies with his channel. All right, so this is part one of the May-June 2021 Social Studies paper two. All right, so we are going to look at the 4 compulsory questions, and then in part two, we are going to be looking at the option sections, which contains communications, consumer affairs, and tourism. All right, so the first question says, Mr. and Mrs. Cargill have been in a marriage for the last 15 years. Define the term marriage. So you can just use a simple definition that you got from a textbook or from Google or from a dictionary. It's okay. So marriage is a legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. So a marriage is a legal union between a man and a woman, which is accepted in the Caribbean. Then it says, state the difference between polyandry and polygyny. Polyandry is where a woman has more than one husband, so 2 or more husbands. And polygyny is where a man has 2 or more wives. All right. So the difference between polyandry is that polyandry is where a woman has more than one husband, while polygyny is where a man has more than one wife. Right? So you must say while, or you can say on the other hand, in order to distinguish, to differentiate, or to give the difference. If you use and, sorry, then you are defined. All right. Next question says, the family performs several functions. Outline 2 of these functions. Once the question is asking you to outline, it means then you must explain your point using a complete sentence. Do not list, because there are several core functions of the family, like procreation. The family functions as an economic unit, socialization, to give emotional and psychological support. Don't just list them, but explain what they mean. So one function of the family would include procreation. This is the continuation of the human race, where the family have babies, right? Socialization, this is where the family teaches its members how to function in society and to be good citizens, right? Economic unit, where the family provides for its needs, basic needs, food, clothing, shelter. Next question now says, Mr. and Mrs. Cargill are experiencing challenges in rearing their 2 teenage children and want to improve their parenting skills. Suggest 3 actions they may take to help them to be more effective parents, and explain why each action suggested in CI is likely to be successful. So we have to pay close attention to this question, because sometimes students fall down on this question because they're not focusing on how to improve parenting skills. Many times when a question is framed or structured like this, students tend to write how the relationship between the parent and the children can be improved. So if you write about improving the relationship between the parent and the child or children, then you wouldn't get any marks, because the question is specifically asking you, how can the parents improve their parenting skills, right? So you must give your 3 suggestions and also justify your suggestion. So I want you to apply the PEAL strategy, where you state your point, you explain your point, you give an example if possible, and then you link. Link is a formal way to say you just conclude your little short paragraph with your action and your explanation. So give your action and justify. So for 1, in order to improve their parenting skills, parents could attend parenting seminars. All right. So that is your action. Justification. In attending these parenting seminars, then parents can be taught the skills that are effective in rearing teenage children, and then that will allow the parents and the children to have a better, more amicable relationship that is problem-free or little to no problems. Understand? Very good. Another suggestion for parents to improve their parenting skills is that they can do their own research. Almost everything is on YouTube, on Google, and applying some of these skills and in their own. This is going to be successful because many of these skills would prove to be effective and improve the relationship between themselves as parents and their teenage children, right? Another strategy in improving their parenting skills is to talk to their children and find out what might work for them and what is not working. So in homes now, this is a justification. Children are sometimes told that they must be seen and not be heard. So sometimes children don't have a voice. So this family now, Mr. and Mrs. Cargill, can allow their kids to have a voice, to be a part of the decision making, or find out from them what is making the relationship not working and what in their eyes or in their estimation would make it work. I believe that is going to be effective because if parents find out what is bothering their kids, what is allowing them not, to cooperate, because, parents and children hold divergent views, sometimes clash and create conflict, right? And teenagers are a special kind that you have to deal with. So you have to have certain skills in order to effectively deal with them and cater to their needs. Very good. All right, next question. So all actions require justification or an explanation. All right. Question 2AI says, state two characteristics of a primary group. Primary group has face-to-face interaction, and another characteristic is that primary groups are usually small. So secondary groups, let's flip that. Limited face-to-face interaction. So face-to-face interaction is infrequent. Secondary groups are usually large, sometimes very large. Question B now says, two types of government systems practiced in the Commonwealth Caribbean are constitutional monarchies and republics. State the differences between a constitutional monarchy and a republic as they operate in the Commonwealth Caribbean. All right, this says 4 marks, and the question says state the differences. There's no degree to say state one difference or two differences. So just to be certain, even though there's no degree to the question, we're going to give two differences. So one difference between a constitutional monarchy and a republic is that in a constitutional monarchy, the head of state represents the monarch. While in a republic, the head of state doesn't represent the monarch. The head of state is either a titular president or an executive president. Good. Another difference in a constitutional monarchy and a republic is that in a constitutional monarchy, the final appellate court is the Privy Council and it is situated in England, while in a republic, the final appeal court is the Caribbean Court of Justice, and that is not situated in England, but it is within the Caribbean itself. So those are two main differences which I would have outlined. CI says, suggest 3 strategies a citizens group may use to ensure that a government observes principles of good governance. Then you're going to explain why each strategy suggested in CI is likely to be successful. So again, you're going to outline a strategy, then you can justify it, or you're going to say why it is going to be successful or why it is likely to work. So I would start by saying for my strategy 1, I would say, one strategy a citizens group may use to ensure that a government observes principles of good governance is to have pressure groups, right? And these pressure groups would monitor the proceedings that take place in government. Good. This is likely to be successful because if the government does something that doesn't go with the principle of good governance, then these pressure groups can highlight these things so the general public can know and advocate for change. Good. Another thing that citizens group may use or could do to ensure that a government observes principles of good governance is to highlight these things, whether good or bad. So if the government is doing something that doesn't go with the principle of good governance, they could highlight these things on social media media, because social media is a very powerful and effective tool of communication. This is going to be successful because the government doesn't like bad publicity, right? And when we say observe the principles of good governance, this can be something good that the government is doing that is also highlighted, right? The government hates bad press. So it is going to be successful because the government don't want to have a bad name out there, because their aim is to provide for the citizens and ensure that they win the next election. You see what I'm saying? Another strategy a citizens group may use to ensure that a government observes the principles of good governance is to campaign against the sitting government. So they could advocate for the opposition party or put up their own candidate to say, all right, the government is not functioning well as it relates to good governance. So here is an alternative. This is going to be successful. The government is either going to pull up its socks to ensure that they retain power, or the government might risk losing an election if the group is very influential and become successful in highlighting certain matters. All right. That would have been 3 solid suggestions. All right. Next question says, the table below provides information extracted from the population data of country X. Birth rate per 1,000 is 23. Death rate per 1,000 is 9. And the rate of natural increase per 1,000, you are to work that out. So it says calculate the rate of natural increase of country X. Write your answer on this line. So in order to get the rate of natural increase, you're going to subtract the death rate from the birth rate. And 9 from 23 leaves you with 14. So the rate of natural increase per 1,000 for country X would have been 14. That's how you get the rate of natural increase. Now, it says, what other information would be needed to calculate the population growth rate of country X? All right, you make some suggestions and tell me now, what do you think is needed to calculate the population growth? If we already have the birth rate and the death rate, what other information as it relates to movement of people is needed? Very good. The net migration is needed. So the rates of immigration and emigration would also help to get the population growth rate. Very good. All right, next, outline how 3 push factors which operate in Caribbean countries could lead to a brain drain. First of all, you need to understand what brain drain is. This is for 6 marks, so it's 2 for each push factor, and it says outline, so you're going to explain how the push factor could actually lead to a brain drain. One push factor would be low wages, right? This could lead to brain drain because college graduates or skilled professionals may not be satisfied with the low wages paid for their skills or qualifications in the country, so they would leave to go somewhere else, right? Things like high rates of unemployment. If they're finished with school and they have the skills and the academic qualifications and they are unable to find jobs, then they might want to go somewhere else to find a job. Good. Another issue, another push factor would be crime and violence happening in their country. They don't want the risk of great injury or dying. So they might go somewhere else to live in order to escape the high levels of crime and violence. Other things would include poverty, lack of infrastructure, poor technological structure. Those are some other push factors. So push factors are what causes person to leave. So these are situations that exist in a person's country or area that causes them to want to leave to go somewhere else. Then CI says, the 21st century job market requires workers who are creative, can think critically, and solve the problems of the region. Suggest 3 actions the Ministry of Education in your country may take to better prepare students who are equipped for the changing needs of the 21st century job market. Then you're going to explain why each action suggested in CI is likely to be successful. So again, let's go through that question. It said 3 actions are in Ministry of Education. So what can mean Ministry of Education? This is an arm of government, right? No, sorry. This is a ministry of government or an organ of government, not an arm. I don't want to confuse you guys. The Ministry of Education in your country may take to better prepare students who are equipped for the changing needs of the 21st century job market. One of the best things that they can do is some of these careers create a curriculum that offers some certification, even at the entry level, for some of these 21st century new and emerging jobs. This is going to be successful because when the students leave high school, they are going to be fully prepared to take up these job offers. You understand? And they don't have to import persons from overseas to come and fill them, or people, when they leave in college, don't have to leave to go somewhere else because they cannot find jobs because they can enter into these jobs. Understand? That is one thing that they can do. They can have 21st century jobs, new and emerging jobs, have a seminar or give out information pamphlets to let teenagers know, or not even teenagers, but young adults as well, know that these are some new and emerging jobs, and this is what you need to do in order to be qualified to enter these jobs. This is going to be successful because some jobs are becoming obsolete. Some careers, the market is saturated by unemployed people in that career. So this is going to be successful so people can be aware that there are new and emerging jobs, and they know exactly what to do to become qualified. When they become qualified, they know that there are high prospects for them to become employed in these jobs. All right. So the other thing that the Ministry of Education could do to better prepare students who are equipped for the changing needs of the 21st century job market, you can put that one in the comment section, and then I will look at it and tell you if it is correct or not, or if it is plausible. Let's now look at the dreaded regional integration that persons are so afraid of. Write an essay on the topic regional integration, challenges and possibilities. Remember, when you write essays for social studies, it's not the same as English. So you don't need a thesis statement. You don't need a concluding paragraph. You just indent away from the line to answer each part of the question, because what CXC wants is just the raw answers to each part of the essay question. All right, so it says define the term regional integration. Regional integration involves the unification of a number of nation states into a larger whole. The degree to which the separate states are willing to share and unify indicates the degree of integration. Next part now says give 2 examples of regional institutions that have advanced the integration movement. So what regional integrations have advanced the integration movement? I want you to think of some regional institutions that have advanced the integration movement. All right. So first, we have the University of the West Indies. Thank you for that answer, because we know that UWI is not only in one Caribbean island, so I think there are campuses in 3 Caribbean islands or Caribbean countries. But so that has advanced integration through education. There's also CDEMA, which is the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, that has advanced integration. So it's a regional disaster response agency. Good. There is media, CMC, the Caribbean Media Corporation. Good. There's the Caribbean Examination Councils, where most countries who are a part of CARICOM and the CSME, we do 1 regional exams, right? There is the Caribbean Court of Justice. Countries in the region that are republics use that as their final appeal court, right? Constitutional monarchies, some constitutional monarchies like Jamaica use it for trade purposes, right? And there are others as well. Good. So it says outline 2 factors that can hinder regional integration. All right, so 2 factors that can hinder regional integration. One of the biggest factors is a lack of diversification. Production of similar products across the region has limited trade between Caribbean countries and produce competition in extra-regional markets. So we tend to produce the same thing. So it makes the competition stiffer because, for example, banana chips come from several Caribbean islands. So it makes the competition stiff because there's a lack of diversification. There is not much difference in what we produce. Good. There's also unequal distribution of resources. The countries with fewer resources feel that they would be at a disadvantage when trading with countries that have greater resources. Very good. Other hindrance to regional integration would include geography, absence of a common development model or strategy, different stages of growth and development. There is competition, conflict between territorial and regional demands and loyalties, absence of a common currency, among other things. Next part says now explain 3 actions that companies can take to deepen regional integration, and you are to explain how each action is likely to be successful. So again, right here, you're going to state your action, then you give your justification or you explain why each is likely to be successful. So after you state your action, you just say, this is likely to be successful because, and you continue. So one action that a company can take to deepen regional integration is to promote local and regional products within their stores. I know that we have become Americanized and we are longing for the items in Europe, but these regional countries can promote and say, eat local or buy regional. This is going to be successful because people can see the value of regional business and how we as regional citizens can help these businesses to grow when we support them by purchasing their items or purchasing their services. Another thing that companies can take, another action, that a company can take to deepen regional integration is to offer scholarships to regional people to study at regional universities or local universities in the area where they have their business. Just like to be successful because it would encourage people to actually, study local or let other persons know that if you study local, you are just as bright or just as marketable, just as qualified as anybody worldwide. And when businesses do these things, for example, providing the scholarship, then it will get consumers to support their business because, for example, I could say, hey, business X sent my cousin or somebody that I know to college for 3 years or university for 4 years. So I'm going to support that business to ensure that they continue offering these scholarships, right? Another action that a company could take to deepen regional integration is offer free information seminars, keep workshop in schools, right, in universities, or have national broadcast to outline or highlight the importance of regional integration and why we need to deepen the benefits of regional integration, highlighting some of the barriers and what people can do to remove or reduce these barriers. This is going to be effective because people can't know unless they are armed with the information. And once they know, then it means that they can do better or they can do something to actually help to deepen regional integration. All right. So if you would have done that or you'd have come up with some of your own answers to some of these questions, you can post your answers in the chat, but state the questions that you're answering because I realize that sometimes students will post answers, but I don't know what question they are answering, right? So say the question that you're answering, write your answer, and I'll tell you the answer is plausible and could work. All right. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Part 2 of the June 2021 paper 2 for social studies will be coming up shortly. Have a good day, evening, night, wherever you are or whenever you are watching this video. Thank you.